good morning and welcome to another education station with Blank Park Zoo. My name is Jared.
And I'm Kezia, and today we have a really fun special guest that Jared is going to get out for us, and he's going to talk a little bit about her. And while he talks about her, I'm going to try and get set up here with our live so that I can ask your guys' questions and Jared can answer them for him. So you guys know the drill. Jared's going to start off by talking about Fiona a little bit, and hopefully you get some new questions in.
All right, so this is Fiona. We're going to give her a second to come out. She can be a little camera shy, but she will come out, I think. Come on. Let me get some more food. Everybody loves food. You going to come out?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
She's looking like it.
She's had a long Tuesday morning like we all have today. Come on, Fiona. All right, so here is Fiona. Fiona is a Rouen duck, and she is actually my favorite animal at the whole entire zoo. And that may seem a little silly considering we have things like lions and rhinos and a duck being my favorite, but Fiona is just one heck of a fun animal. She's got a fantastic personality. I love getting to talk about her. I love getting to hang out with her. And I'll tell you a little bit why in a little bit here. So one of the cool things about Fiona is how much of a mallard she looks like. She looks like ducks that we have in Iowa, but she's actually a breed of duck that comes from France. So she is a fancy French duck who does look a lot like an Iowan duck. And boy Rouen ducks like Fiona actually look a lot like male mallards with the green head and some of the white and brown feathers. So Fiona looks a lot like a mallard, but she's really not close to being a mallard other than just being ducks. And unlike a mallard, she does not fly. A lot of people always want to know if she flies. She does not, even though she has all the things that would help her fly in the wild, like wings, feathers, hollow bones. She's just a little too heavy to fly because she was bred to be a duck for food and some things like that. So she just doesn't really fly, but she is a fantastic swimmer, just like ducks out in the wild. She's got a couple things that help her be built a little bit better for swimming than some other birds. The easy one being her feet. If we take a look at her feet, if she'll ever turn around for us, she's showing you her good side. But she does have these big, giant webbed feet that help her paddle through the water very fast. It helps her get wherever she needs to go. Give her some more bugs. So Fiona has these feet that are fantastic for swimming. The other thing that's really helpful is her feathers, which seems maybe a little silly, but she does have some special oils in her feathers that she can put all over the rest of them that help keep her kind of waterproof. So when she hops out of the water, she doesn't have to worry about being weighed down with the water. She doesn't have to worry about being cold when it's winter time. So she has a special oil that helps her survive in the water a little bit. And the third thing that's really helpful is her mouth. Now, her mouth's a little different than most animals we think about because she doesn't really have much for teeth. Instead of teeth, she's got all these little tiny hairs in her mouth. And she has those because of what she eats. In the water, she's going to eat lots of itty-bitty tiny things that are hard to see, and if you had to pick one out of the water, you'd have a heck of a hard time doing it. So Fiona takes a big mouthful of water that catches all of these little tiny things and spits all the water out through these little tiny hairs, and those little tiny hairs catch all the food, and she doesn't get any water. So she's built perfectly to live in the water. She does a fantastic job. At the zoo here, she does love to hang out in the water. She spends most of her time swimming around in her pool, bobbing around. And she just has a blast doing it with her friend Fergus. Keisha, do we have any questions rolling in?
Yeah, so Katie asked, what does she eat? And so I know you went over that a little bit, so maybe we'll just talk about what her favorite things to eat are.
So some of her favorite things to eat, she loves crickets. That's what I was feeding her to get her to come out a little bit. She loves eating bugs. Bugs are a big one she can find in the water. She can find them here at the zoo. There's tons of bugs crawling around. So she loves eating bugs. They're one of her favorite things to chase. At the zoo, her diet is actually a special formulated duck food, just like we have dog food and cat food for dogs and cats. There is special duck food made specifically for ducks that makes sure that she gets all of the special vitamins and minerals and nutrients that she needs.
Yeah, so, and then we had another question from Susan, and she asked, what would happen if we were to release her into the wild?
If we released Fiona into the wild, she wouldn't go anywhere. She loves hanging out at the zoo. That's one of the reasons that I like her so much, is because she's so well behaved. She just hangs out on my table while I talk. She is a little noisy when I'm trying to talk, but I'll forgive her for that. So she wouldn't really do much. Like I said, she can't fly, so she would have a hard time there. If we released her into a pond, odds are she could find some food to eat. But if she can't fly away from things, it could put her in a lot of danger. So she wouldn't do very well out in the wild.
All right, and then Anne was asking what's her beak made out of? Oh, sorry, that was from Charlie.
So her beak is made out of keratin. It's a material that a lot of things are made out of when we think about our bodies, our fingernails, our hairs, turtle shells. A lot of stuff is made out of this keratin, and that's what her beak is made out of. That's why it's a little bit harder than, say skin or her feathers, but it is not quite as strong as bone.
All right, so I know we talked a lot about Fiona, just her personality and everything like that. Does she have any friends that she lives with at the zoo?
So at the zoo, she lives with a whistling duck named Fergus. He's a lot younger than she is. Is he maybe a year old? He's not very old.
Yeah.
And Fiona is 14. So there's a little bit of an age gap in there, but they hang out, they live together, they swim around in the pool, chase each other around. But that's really about all that she has or needs. She does live in a room with lots of other noisy birds she can talk to. She's got lots of parrots around, some owls that hoot and chirp and chatter. So there's always a lot of noise going on, a lot of talking back and forth, but as far as living with, it's just Fergus.
All right. So, and I hope I'm saying this right, Eiley asks, and she would like to know if she lays eggs, and have they ever hatched?
So Fiona does lay eggs. Most of her life she's been by herself, and since she lives by herself, the eggs never do hatch. But she does lay them every once in a while. It's not a very regular thing for her, but she does lay them every once in a while. They just don't hatch.
All right. And then another question from Katie. Are their eyes like ours, and do they see in color?
Oh, I don't know. Do they see in color?
So most of the times, animals usually have, depending on the type of animal, it just kind of depends, but more than likely, they do not see as much color as we do. Most of the time, animals are going to have less cones and rods than humans do. And I'm saying most of the time. So they're not going to be able to see as many colors as we can. But Fiona can actually see a lot of different things, and she has pretty good eyesight, especially because she's a prey animal. So her eyes are on the side of her head, and that's kind of how we can tell that she's a prey animal, and she can see a lot of things all at once. So for us, our vision is very focused in the front of us, and for her vision's actually focused mostly on those sides area. So where our peripherals are, she can see a lot more. So when we put our hands out like this, we really can't see our thumbs and our fingers, but Fiona would be able to see all the way back like this, and her direct forms of non-sight would be directly in front of her and directly behind her. All right, Jared, do we know if she has any predators? Like, what would they be in the wild?
So a predator for her in the wild, humans are always an option, especially since people do hunt and eat duck. Fiona herself was bred to be kind of eaten as a meaty duck. So people are always an option, but there's also things you think about in the water, like snapping turtles. With baby ducks, you could even run into things like catfish or some of those bigger fish. Birds of prey like eagles, owls, hawks. When you're talking about duck eggs, things like raccoons and possums might try to find those eggs. So in all stages of their lives, they've got some different things to watch out for. Fiona at the zoo has nothing to worry about, though.
Yes. All right, so I have a question for you. So she's making this really fun quacking noise that most of us think about when we think of ducks. Are there any other types of ducks that make different noises? So
yeah, like I said earlier, the duck that she lives with, Fergus, is a whistling duck, and he gets the name whistling duck because of the whistling sound he makes. So it's a really high-pitched, chirpy, whistly sound. A lot of ducks do make this kind of typical quack that Fiona has, but there are some other ducks that make some kind of unique noises, and some people who are really, really knowledgeable on their different species of ducks could probably tell you just by ducks flying by what kind of duck they are.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we have another question from Charlie. What is her favorite thing to do?
Her favorite thing to do is play in the pool. She loves swimming. Like I said earlier, she's fantastic at it. But what's kind of funny about them playing in the pool is that they don't sink. They have a hard time going underwater, just like when we have those big arm floaties and it keep us on top of the water. She floats so much that when she tries to go underwater, she just dives her face down, her tail feathers all go straight up, but it's hard for her to get her body underwater from just sitting on it. A lot of birds have the same problems. So what they'll do is they'll fly from high up and dive down into the water to get back under as far as they can. But lucky for Fiona, most of the things she eats stay near the shallow areas and the top of the water where she can find that food. But she does love playing and splashing around in the pools.
All right, we have a question from Colleen, and she says, does she have any toys?
Fiona has all sorts of toys. At the zoo, all of the zookeepers give all of the animals what's called enrichment, which is just something really to keep them having fun, keep them excited about new things. So we always change up what toys Fiona and Fergus have. So they get balls, they get different hides. Sometimes we'll take other old toys, even dog toys and squeaky toys, things like that. So they do have all kinds of options. We make sure that they have lots of stuff to do and interact with, but really for Fiona, pools are about all she needs.
All right, so I think we're slowing down on some questions here. But I have one for you, I guess. So Fiona kind of looks like she has some nails or some claws on the end of her feet. What would she use those for?
So she does have little tiny claws on the tips of her webbed feet. And those can be for a whole number of things. She can use them to kind of dig down in mud and dirt to find some of those foods. She can kind of use them to climb. Since Fiona's not a fantastic climber, to get out of the water, she does get her feet up and kind of use those claws to hang on. Something that we also don't think about with ducks is most of the time they make nests in trees, just like other birds do. As much of a water animal as they may seem, they spend a lot of their time up in the trees where their nests are. So she can use her nails for all kinds of kind of a plethora of different things.
All right, so Ashton's asking, does Fiona and Fergus play together?
Fiona and Fergus do play together sometimes. I can tell that there are times where Fergus gets on her nerves, just being 13 years younger than she is. He's got a lot more energy than she does. But they do play together. They do run around. They eat together. They chase each other around, just like cats or dogs would. But there are some times where Fiona just needs her space.
All right, Avery would like to know, do ducks pair for life? Do they mate for life?
So lots of birds do some different things. I don't think that ducks really mate for life. We think about penguins. Penguins are kind of the typical ones that mate for life. Ducks don't. Since ducks move around so much, they go all kinds of different places. They don't usually settle as much and travel in these huge groups. Like we think about, flying V's of geese. They have to be kind of more able to isolate themselves. So she has lived with some other ducks in the past and not really had any particular attachments to them, at least that I know of.
All right. Okay, so Seth would like to know, how loud can she quack?
She can quack very loud. My job at the zoo is to bring animals all over the state of Iowa. We've even gone into some other states. And so I get a ride in the car with her where a lot of times she quacks a lot. I don't know a particular decibel, but you can hear how loud she quacks right now, and that's just her neutral quack. When she's mad at Fergus or wants attention, she can quack pretty loud, and it really works to get attention. But like I said, she also lives in the same room as some other parrots. That parrots can be heard for miles. So if she wants to yell and be the loudest voice in the room, she's got to quack loud to beat out some of those parrots.
All right. Okay. And then we have another one. Can they have any special markings?
So they do have special markings. You can see Fiona's got a little bit of blue on the sides of her wings. Like I said, the boys, just like mallard ducks, will have the green head. So they do have some special markings, and you can get some color variations, like kind of being albino or leucistic and having some pigment mutations there. So she does have a little bit of those kind of prettier colors to help her show off when she needs to, but usually with birds, the boys are the ones that have to do a lot more showing off. So the boys are going to be the brighter, more colorful special markings, whereas Fiona just has that little bit of blue to kind of give her the pretty she needs.
All right, so so we'll go with these last two questions here. Eileen would like to know, do we ever paint her nails?
We do not paint their nails. At the zoo, we do paintings with the animals. It's fun for them to kind of play and splash in some different things. So Fiona has done some paintings where she will walk around and paint, and it makes her feet, you know, blue or red or whatever for a little bit, but we get her feet washed off or put her in a pool and she just kicks them around. But we don't sit there and paint her nails. I don't think she would sit still long enough for us to do that.
All right, and our last question, do ducks make good pets?
So as I've said in the past, it all kind of depends on what you look for in a pet. As you can hear, since we got Fiona out, she's been quacking nonstop, which is not usually something that people want in their house. They go to the bathroom a lot. When they do, it's gross. They eat some kind of goofy stuff. So a lot of people have ducks on farms where I think they fit in a little bit better than being a house pet like a cat or a dog. But like I said, I love Fiona's personality, so they definitely can have that effect on people. But I would say, personally, probably not a fantastic pet. As a farm animal, they would fit right in. But they're just kind of a fun animal to be around. There's plenty of ducks out in the wild. If you look hard enough, you can find some, check for some nests, watch them in the water. It's a lot of fun to kind of check out. Well, I think that's all the time we have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to share our past videos, share this video. We've got lots of good stuff that's been happening. Tune in the rest of this week for some other awesome stuff like crafts and some other animals. But that's all the time we have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Yeah, and thank you guys as well. Just make sure you keep filling in those comments and those questions. We will get to them and respond with a comment and reply. So thank you guys so much and have a good day.